Welcome back to Six Cars, everybody. We're finally back in Canada getting some Canadian content. I know we've been in the States for basically the past couple weeks. It's been extremely busy with Car Week, and of course the Castle Shoot and WECFest, but finally we're back in Canada, and it's a good one. It's Canadian Tire Motorsport Park for Drive Festival. So we've been the past couple of years. I've sort of dubbed this Canada's Goodwood Festival of Speed. It's a similar vibe. It's got a hill climb to it, and most importantly, it's got a ton of cool cars. Now, unfortunately, the weather is a bit iffy today. It's not really cooperating with us. It's blue sky 10 minutes and then it's raining another 10 minutes, but hopefully it will hold off for a little bit and we can actually get a good look at all the cars. Well, of course we are, but for my sake, I don't really want to get super wet. But of course, I'm going to bring you guys all of the crazy content. So I'll remind you guys, as always, to subscribe, like, comment, and share. We're going to head towards the track and the paddock area right now to see what's in store for us this year at Drive Festival. So let's jump to it. Up with this collection here. So I believe we've seen most of these cars before except this 599 GTO, which does have a pretty cool looking heritage livery on it. It's got to be a one of one. I've never seen one that looks quite like this before, but obviously we do recognize the owner's white LaFerrari, which you've seen in videos before. I believe you see the Veyron on the channel as well, this Aventador SV, and a Mansory Ghost down there as well. So we'll try to get through these crowds. As you can see, it's quite large. Obviously special cars attract quite a lot of people, but we'll see what we can do. Maybe head to the back and check out the cars from a different angle. So there is the white LaFerrari from the front again. Obviously you can see the whole collection is matching white. I don't believe the Veyron is originally painted white. I do think that's either a wrap or a respray. I'm not really sure what color it is underneath. It was white and chrome before. Yeah, as I was saying, it was white and chrome before. It sort of looked like the Veyron Centenaire Edition. Personally, I think it looks better painted in all white. That's just me personally, especially when you've matched it with the LaFerrari and the 599 GTO over there. We do have that Aventador SV looking quite nice as well. I've got the Mansory Rolls Royce, and I do believe we see a Wyra poking up behind there. There we go. We finally made our way over to the Wyra. It's a roadster. We have seen the car before, but it's always good to see Pagani's once again. Purple carbon fiber, and a lot of the accents that were originally painted in gold have been painted over in black because it's actually an extremely similar looking spec elsewhere in the world. So obviously differentiate a bit, paint over it in black. But honestly, the purple carbon fiber is one of my favorites. Very reminiscent of some classic Pagani's like these on the 760 LH, which I believe is just purple paint, not carbon fiber, but essentially purple is the way to go on a Pagani in my opinion. I'll see if I can get around, look at the engine bay and the interior as well. But again, the crowds are pretty wild, but we'll see what we can do. Here we go, guys. Just made it around to the back of the Wyra Roadster. So bit of a better angle. There's a bit of sunlight shining on the purple carbon fiber. You can see just how nice that looks. And what I was talking about from the front, it's a bit too dark in there, but that definitely shines much better underneath the sun. We can get a slight look at the AMG V12 in the back of the Wyra. You guys are always familiar with that, with the gold accents especially, just so nice. Even on the suspension, the control arms as well, gold accents. Bit tricky to get a look at the interior, but you guys have all seen Wyra interiors before. It's just so nice to get a look at these out in the flesh. Even if we've seen the particular car before, it's just so nice to see them again. Never get tired of Wyras. Now, although it's behind ropes, this has actually caught my attention more than the Hypercars, the GT3 RS 4.0 from the 997 generation. My personal favorite 911. Nothing has topped it ever since this has come out. Obviously it had its own unique engine, but I just love the little tiny additions they made to it, as well as the little canards they have at the front. The livery is obviously iconic as well. I believe there's a bit of weight savings with the RS 4.0 too, but my goodness, white on white as well. The white wheels are just so good. I can't even tell you how many times I've said on the channel that white wheels are the way to go, and it just looks so damn good in the RS 4.0. We do have the FAF 911 GT3R here from IMSA too, which that plaid livery, pretty iconic. I know they got pressured into putting it on the McLaren 720S recently as well. I mean, that is just their iconic livery now. They have to live with it forever. But that GT3R, obviously a very iconic championship winning IMSA car. A couple more supercars under the tent here as well. We've got the GT2 RS, black on black, quite sinister. The yellow brake calipers and the yellow accents in the interior are always nice. Got an F8, 48 pista back there. But once again, it's the more, I guess, quirky or niche car that's really caught my attention here. It's the Renault 5 Turbo 2, one of the coolest hatchbacks ever made. Of course, the engine in the back, sort of the predecessor to the Renault Sport Clio V6, I'm sure most people are very familiar with. But what I do quite like about this car is how hippie it is at the back. Look at the over fenders. That is absolutely ridiculous for a hatchback to have that wide of a track at the back. That is just such a cool looking car. So it looks like we do have some cars that are getting ready to roll out for the hill climb. Obviously, I know we've seen this before, but come on, this is just so damn cool. The XJ220 with the S kit from Tom Walkinshaw Racing. It's not one of the originals, but it does have the official kit on it, and it's absolutely sick. It's still an XJ220. I love those BBSs as well. The TVR Tuscan up there, so that would be really nice to see on the track. Let's get a look at that quickly. So some of those radical designs are TVRs. I just love how everything has like these waves to it. You can see even the trunk line. I can't even imagine how expensive that would be to replace that body part. There's so many just little bits and intricate details on these TVRs, including the rear taillights, which are quite nice. They're obviously right-hand drive, being British. Even the hood is really interesting looking, almost reminiscent of that Panos GTR1 we saw back at Monterey at Laguna Seca. And even the front grille is really interesting. The headlights, so many cool little details. God, this 458 sounds absolutely incredible. Can't wait to hear that hitting the track and pulling out of the lot here. There's such an eclectic mix at this year's Drive Festival, and that's something that I really preach on this channel. It's not just supercars or JDM, it's a mix of everything. We have the Too Fast, Too Furious R34 Skyline here with the iconic livery. I mean, my goodness, it doesn't get any better than that. I've probably seen that movie 100 times, can recite every single line. So always cool to see these tribute builds. We saw the Tuscan over there. We've got a Viper TA. These are actually incredibly rare. I think there's less than 100. I want to say like 93 or something, but it does stand for Time Attack, so it is a special package on that car. I think they were all either black or orange. They just reversed the accents. So if you get the orange one, obviously you get the black accents. There was a TA badge. Quite nice. We've got the XJ220 Mustang. We've got a Murcielago back here looking quite nice. We've got another V12 behind that with the Ferrari F12. But man, these first gen Mercies are so damn nice. Love the chrome finish on the wheels too. Very period correct. The F12 is looking great under the sun. I see a modified S15 back there. And as promised, you will hear that 458. It sounds absolutely ridiculous. I think we've seen a lot of new 4GTs on the channel, but quick shout out to the 06 because it is still looking so damn good. A pretty simple spec, I would say. I guess you call it gray with silver stripes, but it's very nice and one of the craziest cars to drive. Speaking of which, R32 GTR, again, my personal favorite on the Nismo LM wheels. Absolutely perfect. Not too much done to this, but it does look like it has the carbon fiber front lip down there. It looks like it has the Nismo rad as well, and the carbon fiber gurney flap on the back of the rear spoiler. Just absolutely iconic. Such a good looking car. Never ever get tired of seeing R32s. Good little race car duo here as well, the Gallardo Super Trofeo, and we've got the Time Attack Evo here. Come Camaro race car right behind us, but the Time Attack Evo, look at all of the aero on this thing. My goodness, you can see just how massive the front splitter is. Those huge carbon fiber canards. I absolutely love the exhaust dumping out of the hood. They're just completely cut up. Absolutely love it. Obviously, it's fully gutted inside with these wild bucket seats, and we have a massive swan neck wing at the back here. That is absolutely outrageous, and this is definitely one of the coolest classes of race cars you can see is Time Attack, because you get obviously ridiculous aero just like that. Just a lovely NA1 NSX here too. I gotta say, there's some pretty good JDM content at Drive Festival this year, mixing with all the diversity we do have on TE37s. Obviously a classic wheel choice. It's like the perfect ride height too, perfect fitment all around. I do love this rear diffuser as well, just underneath the exhaust. And here's another very nice looking S2000. I'm not even really sure which kit this is, but it's reminiscent of some that we saw back at WECFest in New Jersey. Love that swan neck wing. Once again, we also have the TE37s on the side. These ones are the super lights too, so a little bit of an extra flex there, but really nice looking car. I step back here and get a bit better of an angle with it, even with the ropes in front of it. Wow, the weather is not cooperating right now, guys. We do have race cars going out. That is going to suck going out in that Cobra with absolutely no roof. I mean, he's got the helmet going on there, but yeah, we do have a Sierra Cosworth behind that. That's really sweet. Great collection here. Got the F5000. Got the, looks like a little Can-Am car being bump start here. It's a Lola. Very nice. It's a little bit hard to get the whole car in the frame here, but this might be the wildest car I've seen so far at the show. It looks to be the Liberty Walk Silhouette GT Evo kit on this Aventador, so you can see just how much wider it is. Now, traditional Liberty Walk kits, it's really just bolts-on fenders and a big wing at the back, but this one completely changes the entire appearance of the car. I think the back is probably the most interesting, as you can see with that shark fin and that wild wing. It sort of looks like a Senna GTR, so I'll see if we can get around to the back and get a better look at it. But yeah, you can see obviously it has the flip paint as well. There's a lot going on with this. Yeah, so there it is, guys. I mean, it's absolutely outrageous. That's the best way I can put it. And you can now see the flip paint here. It almost looks like there's green on the side, but from the front it looked completely purple and blue. So interesting wrap. I'm assuming it's a wrap. I don't imagine this is paint, but quite an interesting look to it. And you can see just how much wider it is compared to a standard Aventador, which is of course sitting right over there in a nice white. This is the Aventador S. Great looking car, but now you can see, there we go. Look at how far that sticks out. If I get under the rope here, from the original bodywork, it's absolutely ridiculous what they've done to this car in a very good way, though. I do like when guys are bold enough to put crazy kits on it, and this has to be the wildest thing you can do to an event or a car that is already so crazy from factory. This is how you truly one-up it. Got a few cars from the Viper Club here. Now, I did want to point out this first gen, though, because obviously you can see it's incredibly modified, and I don't really see too many first gens rolling around anymore, especially the ones that are modified like this. But obviously you can see the giant GT wing at the back. You can see the Brom buckets in there with the OMP belts. Are really good looking. Huge front splitter, but I think that actually looks quite nice. Now we shift over here, we saw the Viper TA that was rolling out, the limited edition Time Attack. We've got, I want to call this a third gen. I know the gen codes are a little bit strange with Vipers. I believe this is the third gen though, or the fourth. Someone can correct me on that one. Either way, it's like the mid 2000s era. It's a great looking car. Obviously this is the same spec as the one from the start of the Tokyo Drift movie, and we do have nice ACR over there as well. Look at that, we even have a Honda Beat, everybody. We spent a lot of time in one particular beat in Tokyo. Shout out to Pizza Turismo on Instagram, because he was our ride of choice for many different events in Japan. So that's awesome to see a Honda Beat over here in Canada. But we'll continue our walk through the paddock here. Obviously you see a lot of race cars. We're going to jump around to the front over there so we can have a look at all of these classic racing legends. Obviously we did see a lot of the race cars roll by, but it's a great little spread they have here, and once again eclectic mix like the 356B Porsche. Obviously that wild looking Camaro over there we did here in the background, Lotus 23B. I did get called out back during the Car Week vlogs when I think we were filming the SP3 Daytona, and there was a Ford Lotus Cortina sitting beside it, and someone was not too pleased that I didn't film it. So here we go, redeeming myself with this Ford Lotus Cortina. Obviously the Ford Cortinas, the original ones, aren't too much of a performance car, but when you give it to Lotus and they tune it and do their magic with it, obviously completely changes the car. So very cool to see that. Not even sure what this is exactly. It looks like an old Can-Am car, but a custom one at that. The front end is just absolutely massive, with it looks like a custom Nakaduck, which is absolutely ginormous. Beside it though, we do have a nice little Lola T70 Mark II, which just sounds fantastic, and just an iconic looking design. Just such a cool little car there. We have the F5000 Lola as well, and you can definitely see this is when guys were just starting to experiment with rear wings and trying to get more downforce, and they were just comically high. You can see how much taller that is compared to where the engine is sitting in the back of that car. And there is a more classic Can-Am car here in the McLaren orange. I think it's the M8EF, which is just absolutely beautiful, and the exposed stack to the back, a huge V8 sticking out. We do have a custom Mazda RX-3 here. The rotary in this sounds absolutely remarkable. It's like ear piercing, but in the best way possible. I don't mean that in a negative way. The rotary is easily, by far, one of the coolest sounds out of any car in history. And this thing, as you can see, totally gutted, manual, obviously. There's not even a slim chance of a passenger seat fitting on the other side there. So very cool. But I did want to point out, interesting thing I noticed on this C5 Corvette when it drove by, it does appear to have like NA2 NSX headlights, which actually fit in quite nice, and obviously a lot of work done to it, but that really stood out to me. I've never seen anybody put NSX headlights on a Corvette before, but it does seem to work. We do have a whole collection of Time Attack Subarus here as well. Basically almost every single generation. The Hawkeye, do have one of the newer variants here. Obviously, again, the Time Attack cars are famed for all of their crazy aero. This one is almost more like a rally style build, but it is under the same tent, so obviously doing a bit of Time Attack action with this car as well. I do love the setup he has on this though. I love that roof intake on top. Definitely WRC inspired, but obviously he definitely has some Time Attack elements as well. This one you can obviously see is your traditional Time Attack build, fully unlimited. You can see how massive the rear wing is at the back, how far out that front splitter sticks from the original bumper, the ginormous canards. You can obviously see there's a ton done under the hood as well, which is just completely cut up for ventilation. Inside is very, very gutted. There's not a lot going on. You have bucket seats, a steering wheel, and a shifter essentially. Everything else is cut out for maximum weight reduction. Even the side steps here, that is just crazy how far they stick out from the original bodywork. This is a full-on wide body Time Attack Subaru. When you come to the back, it only gets crazier. Look at that rear diffuser and just how massive the rear wing actually is, completely bolted onto the chassis, it looks like there. Man, that is definitely one of the craziest looking cars we've seen. Speaking of which, we also have what is nicknamed do have a couple nice singers here. These are the classic studies, so I know they've gone pretty crazy recent years with the DLSs, the wide bodies, but these are the original OG Singers, so you could still see has a very timeless look to it, just like a classic 911. No crazy aero wide bodies or anything like that. This one beside it here is the Canada Commission, so obviously red on white. It's pretty easy to see where they got that naming from, but there's a lot of like interesting touches inside. You could sort of see the door pulls there are finished in red, so obviously quite nice. Lots of Canadian touches on that one. It's a lovely little car, and of course it's a Targa too, so don't see too many Singer Targas. We have the legendary 959, of course, always good to see that. I think we've seen this particular one a couple of times on the channel, but once again, there are certain cars that it's okay to duplicate them, and I think a 959 definitely falls under that category. But over here we do have a Novitec 812 and Largo. So we've seen the F12 and Largo in Tokyo before on the channel, but the 812 is something that is, of course, brand spanking new. I think this is the first one in Canada as well. I would say that this one isn't as aggressive or as crazy as the F12 kit, but it might actually be a little bit nicer. It's a little cleaner, not as outrageous, but you can obviously see the front fascia is much different from your standard 812. I'll see if I can flip around to the back too. There's a lot of interesting angles back there as well. So there we can kind of see a little bit over the ropes. There's the back of the Novitec 812. Obviously you can see there's a lot of added carbon fiber accents. It is a bit wider compared to your standard 812 as well. And just look at this one is the GTS too, so convertible drop top, very nice. But yeah, there we go. Obviously much wider than a standard 812. And once again, I think this kit is not as aggressive or as crazy as the F12 and Largo, but I think this one might actually be cleaner. It's really nice, definitely giving some 812 comp vibes as well. And there you go, the back of the 959 as well. Always good to see. There's even a couple of cool rally cars here as well. I don't think we've seen rally cars at Drive Festival before, but this is pretty interesting. It's a Galant. I'm assuming it's the VR4, so the top of the line engine in it as well, but obviously the hella light's pretty iconic. This definitely looks very period correct. I absolutely love what they've done to it, but it looks like it's a whole Canadian rally display here. So there is a GC Impreza back there, and it looks like there is a Hawkeye over here too. So obviously a lot done to these cars to set them up for off-road racing, but great to see some rally car content here as well. And there is, of course, the GC beside it. All right, here's my favorite car at Drive Festival. I know you might be saying, really, this thing? Well, Suzuki Cappuccino is and probably always will be my favorite Japanese K cars. So obviously they are extremely limited on the powered 660cc engines, but I think, and I'm pretty sure I said this back at WECFest New Jersey as well, because we saw a Cappuccino there, but out of the autos and the beat and the Cappuccino, this one's always been my favorite. It has a real soft spot in the heart of 6 cars. Just fantastic to see that there. There is another cool JDM car here, though I do want to show you guys right beside it. There we go, the Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution. So basically a Dakar rally car for the road, essentially. You can obviously see it is not your standard Pajero. There's so much going on with this thing. It's incredibly wide. Obviously that massive hood intake, the little wing that sort of stretches all the way from the roof all the way down to the taillights as well. There's so many cool aspects of this car. It's another thing you just rarely ever see in North America or Canada, even because they of course were never sold here. But now that we can import these and they're over the 15-year rule, we are seeing some more cool JDM cars like these pop up. So the Pajero Evolution, that is awesome to see. I don't think I've ever seen one in Canada either, so very cool. And just, hey, look, back of the Cappuccino, just another reason why this thing is so cool. A back angle of this thing is quite possibly my favorite. Such a good looking car. And we do have a nice modified center exit exhaust as well. You could take the roof off this thing. It is a convertible, so hey, you know what, every aspect of this little K car is just so much fun. I think we're just starting to wind down here. The weather has been such a mismatch here today. We've got like 4 different seasons in one day, basically. We do have the RWB that we saw back at Driven. I think that was a big unveiling too, but it's a lovely car. So in case you guys didn't see it, it is of course the Cabrio with that crazy double-decker RWB wing at the back. And they've obviously covered up the wheels from all the rain, the debris that's flying around with all the rain now. But actually what did catch my attention here is this Integra. It's a DB8 type R. So yeah, you guys obviously know it looks very similar to the DC2, but the DB8 is the 4-door version. You'll hardly ever see these around. It's genuine 2 right-hand drive, so very nice to see. But as you can see, people are packing up their tents because the wind's getting pretty wild. I think that's probably our cue to go here, and I will just show you guys as well the slammed NSX2 with the roof back, because it's just so damn cool looking. So that'll probably be our last car of the day, the Dockzilla NSX, before we wrap it up here at Drive Fest. Guys, I was not kidding when I said you literally experienced 4 different seasons here at Drive Festival today. When we got here, it was raining, it was gray skies. Now it's sunny, but it's cold and windy. I don't know what to make of it, but we did see a lot of cool cars. Very good content. This is always a good show, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, there wasn't as many supercars and hypercars here this year, but the variety was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed some of the quirky cars that we were seeing in the paddock areas, and just diversity was fantastic. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Again, make sure you subscribe, like, comment, and share if you haven't already. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time on 6 Cars.